Hey everyone, Anti-Swipe again. Wanted to bring you another update video on the build. Uh, First off, just wanted to say there's a lot of comments and a lot of people excited about the build, and it's great. I'm so excited you guys are excited about the build. I'm glad it's helping you get to maps, get through cruel, even get to the mid game. This video might be a little upsetting to you guys, maybe. I don't know. It's a little upsetting to me because I had to do a major overhaul of the passive tree, which you can probably see behind me. Um, I'll get into that in a second. I just first wanted to say that like I said, I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate the suggestions that you guys are bringing up because they're just not things that I thought about. There's a lot to this game that you can't really know or understand having played PoE1 that I'm just I'm starting to really grasp, and it's just nice to have you guys provide those suggestions. So thank you so much. Please keep bringing them. If you believe it's a good addition to the build or something you're trying yourself and you want to you think it would help me, great. I relish it. I look at every comment that you guys post. So this is the end. This is what I believe the end game of this build can get to. So before the previous tree in the last video, while it was good, we lacked defenses. There was not a clear defensive mechanic that I was utilizing. And so in this tree, we're going to go through evasion. We're going to go very hard into evasion. So yeah, most of the tree is the same. I'll get into it. You're probably going to need, I don't know how much gold, because I ended up spending probably 500k, 450 to 500k of gold, doing a couple of respecs couple of major respecs in the tree just to like get an idea of what pathing I should take. And this is as close as I could get to the original build after I had done a full-on respec and went almost into the entire ranger side of the tree. But the ranger side of the tree has incredible nodes for evasion, including these over here. But I'll get into that in a second. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to respec and come over to this side. We want to get these nodes as quick as we can because they're heavy damage. We no longer need the electrocute tree or electrocute passives because I've moved over to Kotoko's current. These gloves are insane. At first I was kind of leery. I was like, well, I have enough electrocution buildup, but I'll try them. These are ridiculous. I'll showcase them in a second. And so you go for this node. This is a really good movement speed node. By the way, don't smirk or don't shirk on movement speed in the tree. It's super helpful, especially since there are times when we could get swarmed by like delirium or some breach mechanics or breach the level of mobs in a breach. So taking as much movement speed and dexterity as you can is very helpful. I took this node because it's just a 1-point wonder, projectile damage plus strength and dex, because we do need strength. We do need a little bit of int in the build. The small nodes you'll see in the mobilytics link, they come up as just 5 to any attribute. Please use whichever attribute makes sense for the gear that you're wearing, and then respec accordingly whenever you need more int or more strength, etc. for your crossbow, strength for your crossbow, and then put everything else in a dex, and I'll get to that in a second. So you'll path down here. You'll grab this damage pin and this chance to shock with LE damage here. This is really, really good. Plus it gives us some more dex here. You go for these two evasion nodes. They're really good. Plus this one gives you movement speed. You're going to come down to catalysis. Anyway, whatever it's pronounced for LE damage to attacks. These 3 points are really, really good. We still keep this forking or this shock duration and magnitude nodes because they're really, really good. So we do need lightning damage as not for non-critical hits as lucky. We need this. So whenever you do your respec, try to respec from here and then go around like I have. If you need to, in the original build, there was a connection here. You can keep this connection until you have enough gold to spec here. And I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it's 4 nodes. No, 5, 6. It's a little bit more nodes, but because of the fact that you're not taking all of this, this is a lot easier. So anyway, path up here. Still grab your crossbowed reload speed because it's super important. There is a variation of galvanic shards that are being done by DS Lily. You can check her out in on YouTube or in on Twitch. But she went Deadeye. I think it was Deadeye. Yeah, whichever ascendancy gives you tailwind. And this is very similar pathing to hers. Actually, it's a lot of hers. But we come down here to make sure that we get the crossbow reload speed, because on our class we don't get action speed, or I think it's skill speed is what tailwind gives you. So we grab this jewel node, obviously, to come up. This jewel node here as we head towards making sure we get Giant Slayer, Lightning Rod, and Flash Storm. In the other build, we had this spec. You don't need this as far as I'm seeing, because this is pen and this is electrocute buildup or shock buildup. And we get pen here, and I think we also get pen. I guess we actually don't get pin out elsewhere, because there's also a variation where you come up here and you grab this, but I don't think it's necessary, at least for the tier of map that I'm doing, which is like tier 8, tier 9. You come up, you grab the electrocution here, because we are electrocuting with those gloves pretty frequently, so they just immediately get 20% more damage taken. If this operates the same way that PoE1 did, where just enemies take increased damage, it always happens at the very end of our damage calculations, and it becomes more. I found out about these 3 nodes. These are insane. You get three points for a path that you're already going down, and you get, I think it's 74 74% increased lightning damage, which in this case would be 24% increased damage, and then 50% increased lightning damage. Insane nodes. 3 nodes for 70% damage. Oh my goodness. Just grab this as soon as you can. We went for evasion here. So I swapped out my my chest piece for the Pathfinder coat. This is not the highest evasion that you can get. This was like a good, starter almost evasion base with some high life, high res. I put some more dex, or I got some dex on this, honestly, as like, I think I slammed dex on this, which was awesome. Before, after I bought it. But 700 evasion is good. That puts me with these boots and this helmet at about 76% evasion. And I'll get to the reason why it says estimated chance to evade melee attacks on there as well, and that it's higher. I'll get into that later. We want to go here for increased evasion rating with percent dex. We get this dex node. We travel here to Falcon Technique. This gives us attack speed per dex. Right now I'm running I have about 251 dexterity, and I think 251 puts me at about 10%. No, more than that. So 250 divided by 15. So yeah, 16% attack speed just for this one node. And so yeah, stacking dexterity is actually super helpful. Plus you get 6% attack speed coming up to it, plus 15 dex. Yeah. So you may be wondering, hey, why is this node over here lit up? So remember originally in the video before, I had talked about trying to anoint Wild Storm. Well, if you look at Wild Storm, it requires 2 distilled motions that are the hardest to get, which is isolation. They're so expensive. So I gave up that pipe dream, because it's not going to happen until you probably get into the late game, and you can afford it, or you're doing delirium and actually dropping them. You can do after image to, like I said before about increased evasion to melee attacks. That's what this gives you. Guilt, greed, and disgust. These are pretty simple to get, or pretty easy to get. If you're doing delirium content on your build, that would help you to drop these pretty easily. I think I had these in maybe like 7 delirium maps, 6 delirium, maybe 8 delirium maps. I can't remember exactly. And I think I still have 1 of each of these. So anyway, that's what you would anoint on your amulet. By the way, if you don't know about anointing because you're new to PoE, that's what anointing does, is it allocates a notable passive skill or passive tree node anywhere on the tree. So you can scroll over here and say, hey, I want to do slowing potency of debuffs on you with unimpeded. You hit Alt and you have to do you have to put in isolation, NV, and isolation in the menu, which I will show you. You come over to, I have a deli tab. You can take just one of these and you can right click it, and it gives you an instilling option. And you take your amulet and you put in, obviously I don't want to do this, but you put in 3 distilled emotions, and it gives you whatever these 3 allocate on the tree. So what else? So yes, I've changed my helmet. So my helmet before was just armor evasion, but now we want to go strictly evasion rating on all of our gear. You want to try to get life, highest evasion rating you can. I found one with % rarity, very, very good. I've already dropped, I dropped a perfect jeweler orb. I don't know if that constitutes as you can grab that from rarity on your gear, but I'm assuming so. Perfect jeweler orbs, if you don't know, those give you a 5 link or a 6 link. They give you your last slot here. I didn't use it. I probably should have, because it would be good to have the extra damage. But at this point, I'm just trying to farm to continue my progression, and so I sold it for 58 exalts, or 68 exalts. I'm sorry. Anyway, as much chaos res as you can get, both on your boots, or sorry, both on your helmet, boots, and as well as your basically anywhere that you can get it. And you can see I'm not capped quite on fire and cold. I'm capped on lightning, and I'm at 61% chaos res. Try to get this as high as you can, because there is in the later, even in the early stages, I think, of maps, there are mobs that have like rare mobs that have modifiers that explode with poison crystals or some kind of, like, not poison, but like chaos explosions. This chaos res helps me significantly in surviving, and we all know if you die on a map, the map's over. You have to start another one. So try to get chaos as high as you can. Chaos gear is going to be a little expensive if you don't already have it, and so just try your best, right? Try to get this as above 45, as close to 75 as you can, and if you get to 75, great. Cap it. It's awesome. Really helps the build with survivability. So let's talk about the Kitoko's current. A couple of you, maybe even a few of you in the comments had talked about these gloves, and I kind of dismissed them because I didn't really understand, or think, not really understand. I knew what they did, but I didn't really think that the electrocution buildup from the gloves was going to really get where I wanted it to be without the nodes in the tree. I was totally wrong. These gloves are single-handedly one of the best. I can't make that statement. They are very, very, very good with our defensive mechanic, because if we can electrocute them, they're stunned in place. Then we can use shock burst rounds and just burn them down, right? If it's a rare or just a tanky white mob. Belt, same thing. Try res with some life. If you can get chaos res here, that's great. But you want to make sure that you fill in your res as much as possible. This belt is mediocre because all the res rolls are low or lower. I will be replacing this belt probably today, if not tomorrow, to try to cap my fire and cold res. This ring is the same, all LE res. The flat damage helps, but it's not required. And rarity. Rarity is very helpful for helping you get drops. This ring, I believe I talked about in the previous video, still the same. I actually added lightning modifier quality to it, which you can get from, let me see. You can get from Escha's Catalyst. If you use 20, it's not 20, because I think you can get like more than 1% whenever you use it on a piece of jewelry, but just for all intents and purposes, get 20 of these, or get as many as you need, and then use it on any kind of elemental or lightning damage rolls, or basically anything that has either the lightning tag or has lightning in the description of the modifier. I.e., if I come over here and I hit Alt and I hover over elemental resistances, you can see that both all fire, cold, lightning, or chaos, all of that is inside of the flavor text for resistances. And so, or the description for resistances. So if you used any fire, cold, lightning, or chaos modifier catalysts on the ring, it would increase, no, I'm sorry. Not chaos, just fire, cold, and lightning. If you use any of those on your jewelry, it will increase your LE res. As you can see right here, like I said, I used lightning. I have 11%, and then when I stop holding Alt, it has 2% more on it because of the lightning modifiers. Right, 20% of 11 is 2.1. Right, 2.2. Then for my amulet, I went for a rarity base, high life, more rarity on the explicit, and then all res. The rest of these mods don't help. I tried to get something that had rarity, all res, and chaos res. Absolutely ridiculously expensive. So I just wanted to have more survivability with the maximum life, and then made sure I went for rarity for the build. So that's it for the gear. Make sure that you swap out your charms. Seem to be pretty important as you get closer to the mid-tier, late-tier maps, because you can get hit from a pretty big LE damage hit. So you could get shocked, you could get frozen, you could get ignited. So or you could get hit with bleeding, and there could be a bleed, like if you're running a map that has bleed chance for the mobs on it. Make sure you use the charm that is corresponding to whichever ailment you do not want to take or do not have fixed or cleaned up on your gear or your tree. In this case, all of the elemental elements, in our case, it would be ignite, shock, and freeze. Freeze being the most debilitating. I don't believe any mobs can electrocute you. I haven't found them yet, so don't quote me on that, but maybe. So I'm using frozen so that I don't just sit there and get stuck while the mobs just burn me down. Right. Very, very good charm. You know, if you can't choose one that you want to use, just use thawing charm. Okay. What else? Yes. So I've updated the Mobalytics link, the Mobalytics guide. I have in the guide, I'll actually show you this. In the guide, there is a higher tier maps respec tab that you can click on under build variants. And here is where I've done all the changes, build variant description. I added in some of the gear that I have just to give you an idea about it. Oh, I also need to talk about the bow. And I talk about what to replace as it pertains to what the previous build was to now. I also added in 5 socket or your 5th support gems for both of these. I also changed some of the support gems. Just make sure that whenever you look through this and you want to follow it exactly, if you don't have 5 sockets, just cut off the last one of each of these, because they're the ones that are they're just not as big of a priority because I'm not using them in my tree or my build. Also talk about Stormcaller arrow with the bow, which I'll get into in a second, and the tree has been updated so you can go point for point with what I'm doing. Hope that helps. I also have another link, which is Endgame. It's the exact same detail as the other one for higher tier maps respec, but in this case it's just on its own. This is the build. It's just its own link. Okay. I'll put that in the description below as well. I think that takes care of everything. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, I will showcase some app content. Talk to you in a second. Okay, so we're going to be choosing a fairly simple area, and I know this isn't showcasing exactly what the build can do with more mods, but I can't really find. Oh, sorry about that. Can't really find anything where we, oh, okay, here's Delirium. We can try this. Delirium with a tier 9 that has 2 very hard mods on it, crit hit chance and extra chaos, just so you can see what the survivability is like in the build. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is when you get to the Delirium content, mobs start to get really, really tanky as you progress, and you'll see down here in the bottom left that my progression numbers are going up. So whenever this goes up to 3, for instance, they get tankier and tankier. At least they did in PoE1, and that seems to coincide with this as well. Yeah, as you can see, I'm attacking until I electrocute, and then once I electrocute, if the mob is still alive, then I do my best to swap over to once they actually get electrocuted instead of that one not being. Oh, actually, superior. I want that. Actually, forgot uncut skill gem. That's good. Oh crap, we're getting stuck. No. Whoa, what the heck was that? Ooh, an exalt. Nice. Also changed my loot filter. If any of you are interested, please ask in the comments and I'll see about sending it to you. It's a custom made filter, so I don't really know how I'm going to send it to you. But I'll try it somehow. Ooh, 17 skill gem. That's good. So as you can see, damage is a little lacking when it comes to the fact that deli mobs are very tanky. I think this build would do better to have different mechanics than deli. This is just what came up in especially since you get through the as you get to the late game. The breach is really good, as you can see from the last video. Breach should probably be a better mechanic to do on this build. It's hard to scale damage sometimes without just going full on shock burst rounds, because we're trying to just trying to do clear, right? Shock burst rounds is just, it's too slow for clear, especially if that's all you're doing. Ooh, tier 3 mitts. Sick. Lots of maps. That's good. May have to just end it here. The delirium. These eyes are really tanky. What? One more rare? Two more rares. Missed one, looks like. I missed two rares over here? Okay. You know what? I'll come over there and get those after. Oh, pathing. Path of Exile 2. Come on. I have no idea what that is. Oh, that's mana. Ooh, that's... Oh my gosh, okay. Alright, getting distracted. Another 17 skill gem, that's good. Garbage. We're gonna end the delirium encounter. There you go. Let me go back to town, get these up, and then come back. Oh, Doriani's! And it's well rolled. All right. Putting that over here. Very cool. I will sort these out later. Nope. Map stays here. Sweet. I can do my ascendancy with that. Make sure I do them. Okay, you may have noticed in the mapping, I did make a change, and it's a pretty significant one. I'm going to go over the skills. I forgot to do that earlier in the video. So, Galvanic shards, I'm doing martial tempo, innervate, conduction, and nimble reload. I'm just going to go through this pretty quickly. If you need more details on these and you can't stop it during the video, that's fine. It's in the Mobalytics link. For shock burst rounds, I've got martial tempo, conk effect, elemental focus, and lightning infusion. These 4 supports are, it just makes it do incredible damage. I didn't know how much damage these 4 supports did, because we don't care about doing an elemental element on shock burst rounds. So LE focus, gives way more damage, right? Herald of Thunder with cannibalism, precision, and magnified effect. I went Wind Dancer so I could get the extra evasion rating. I forgot to bring that up in the while I was going over the passive tree. Super important. This scales our evasion rating to astronomical levels. I think without it, we're at 65% evasion. It's 5331. And with it, once these go up to 3, 76% evasion at 8210 evasion rating. Very, very good. And that I have cannibalism socketed in. For voltaic mark, I'm doing persistence and lasting shock. There doesn't really need to be a third support on this, because we're inflicting our shock a different way than before. Still very good. You can put in a third socket if you'd like. There's not anything that I could see to improve this. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. Emergency reload, I'm using ingenuity, premeditation, and murderous intent for the culling strike and the just the cooldown recovery rate and increased damage. And then I am using a bow, in this case, not a second crossbow, but a bow with, you want to try to get this to about 250 DPS, not just PDPS, or not PDPS, but like just DPS. That would be elemental and physical together. This I picked up from the market. I think it was like 5 exalts maybe, and then it had the attack speed, the fizz damage, and the fire damage on it. I added in the 2 socketed lightning damage, and then I slammed on additional arrow, which was a crazy addition. And then for a quiver, try to go to plus to projectile skills with some dex. I put the information about the quiver in the Mobalytics link, so feel free to read through that if you have any other questions. Like I said, Kotoko is current, and everything else I went over in before. So why do we use a bow? So in this case, using a bow gives us access to Stormcaller Arrow. And Stormcaller Arrow, for the bolt that happens post the... So what happens is you attack, and when you attack... let me do that again. So when you attack, the bow or the shot sticks into the mob, and then after a couple seconds it brings this bolt down. The bolt has insane shock potential. I think there's not been one mob that I've done it on, including bosses, that it hasn't instantly shocked. So if you go to the bolt tab after you're holding tab, it has 800% more chance to shock. And it converts our fizz to lightning, so we have a huge lightning damage number, and the attack damage, heavier DPS number, and the attack damage is quite high for this to do the shock. In Stormcaller Arrow, we're doing lasting shock, lightning exposure, so we can actually have exposure on bosses, which reduces their res even further, right beyond 0, or can go beyond 0. Into the negatives, and strip away for additional exposure effect. All right, and that is it. I really appreciate the time that you've spent watching the video. Please, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. And as always, we will see you in the next one.